What's going on, y'all? Catfish. I think this is episode 10. Girl, we'll figure it out. Blair and Markie. Now, I thought this was going to be a boy and a girl thing, but it wasn't. It was some, some gay shit. But, it was weird. It was bullshit all in the same time. Because as soon as I heard some of the stuff, I was like, girl, you need to quit, okay? You really just need to quit. Blair, I want to feel sorry for her, but I can't because her priorities is all fucked up. You are, at one point she was living in New York. She was homeless. I guess she came out to her people. If I got this shit wrong, I don't care. But either way, she homeless. She was living in New York or whatever. Somehow they was down in Texas. Moved down to Texas with a friend or whatever. She was still homeless. Some kids was involved and, shit like that. One of the friends that she wound up becoming real good friends with, she has a kid. So they all just homeless. That's the whole key of this. They homeless. And I get her story, It's really fucked up. Sometimes, that's what happens when you come out or whatever shit that was going on in her life, you don't get accepted. I believe that's what the circumstance was. If not, it don't matter. She was just homeless. She was trying to get on her feet. She hasn't had a job. At one point, she had a job. She started talking to this girl online. They was talking for a year, Markie. And I was like, okay, she fine for her, And she didn't want to Skype, all this stuff. They was falling in love. At one point in time, they were supposed to meet up. She sent her a message and said, hey, babe, look, I got me a job. Now I can finally get you a ticket. I'm not bad. Nobody, no ticket I ain't met in real life first, okay? No. We got to meet and we going to both buy our own shit first, okay? And don't do no shit like that, And then once that initial meeting and everything go good, then we can work on doing little fancy shit like that. Other than that, hell no. Plane tickets be like, almost, $100 and up or something like that, depending on where you go to. It could be a little bit less, but still, that's still too much money coming for me to send a bitch out here to come see me. Girl, I'm not your sugar daddy, okay? No, I'm not. Not in the beginning. No, I'm not. So, they doing all that. She was supposed to meet her, and next thing you know, she claims she can't meet her, then all of a sudden, she's kidnapped. And then a few days later, they don't hear from her, but then she's in the mental hospital or she in a hospital or some shit like that. And I'm sitting here like, Blair, open up your eyes, girl. Open up your eyes. Okay, this is some bullshit. Okay. This is some bullshit. Alright? Kidnap. Kidnap. Now, I'm laughing because it's not really funny, but it's fucked up. It's funny because it's so stupid. And I hate the fact that girl was making a mockery of people who actually get kidnapped. And shit really do happen to them. All because you playing games with this girl. Okay? So, next thing you know, Blair checking up on her like, so girl, how you been? Are you okay? She like, look, I don't want to talk to you. We're over. We're done. Fuck you and all this shit. Don't ever contact me again. Blair was like, ain't this about a bitch? I was just trying to see how you was. I thought you was my hoe, but, you acting like a hoe. Skank. Bye. So they did all that. And next thing you know, Blair bounced back. She was like, I ain't gonna let this trick I ain't never seen before get me down. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go get me a bitch. And she went and got her new chick. And I was like, okay, somebody that she was actually, probably was another online relationship. But I think she had more of an interaction with her and a connection with her than she had with Markie. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, whatever. But either way, she posted some shit that she was in a relationship with this girl on her Facebook or whatever. And next thing you know, Markie come out the blue like, you can't be with her, break up with her, but we still not getting back together. My face said, the fuck? You don't talk to me, you break up with me, but then you see me with somebody else, and then you want to tell me that I can't, you come out of the blue and tell me I can't fuck with a bitch because you, girl, get the fuck out of here, Markie, okay? So, Neve come in and all that, Max and Neve, they doing what they doing. Basically, oh girl is legit, okay? She got a Facebook. It's legit. They find 2 people on there. They find a post saying that they can't find this girl. She's kidnapped. Anybody want to come call if you see her and all this stuff. And then it's this guy who was her classmate named Chris, I think. They sent the message to him. Then they sent this other guy that was her ex. They sent the message to him. He got back, Alex. He called back quick and was like, yeah, you know, that was my ex-girlfriend. It was like, she said something about being kidnapped. Do you think that's true? She was like, you know, the reason why we broke up and stuff, because, you know, the bitch was crazy. You know, she lied about shit all the time. And she was just off the wall, just psychotic. And was like, do you think she'll lie about being kidnapped? Yeah, that sounds about right. And I was like, see, we all can see through this bullshit. But I guess Blair was so pussy whipped online, you know, she just couldn't see it. She was just, you know, she needed some hope because she was going through a whole bunch of bullshit. I get that. And you finally found someone, even if it wasn't in person, that was talking her literally off the ledge. She was like, you know, she had bouts of times where she was going to kill herself, throw herself off a freeway, or walk into traffic or whatever. And each time, this girl will pop up randomly and don't realize that, hey, you just stopped me from killing myself. Okay? That was like, or on that aspect, I was like, or, you know, she could have been like your little guardian angel. But she was just a bitch. You know, she was just a bitch. Okay? That's basically what she was. And the next thing you know, the Chris dude text, and he was like, he didn't even leave his name. He was like, yo, y'all contacting me. You can give me a call back, you know, at so-and-so in time. I'm like, excuse you? Kind of rude. But, you know, they called him, and he said that's her classmate, his classmate. She hasn't been in school for the past few days recently because she got into a fight with somebody or whatever. And she had a switchblade on her. I said, ooh, and she dangerous too. That's the type of bitch you got to keep an eye on. You can't go to sleep with her in the same room. You got to go to sleep and make sure she sleep down the hall or down the steps. And you got to put a padlock on your door because the bitch look like she crazy. That's what it sound like. Then, you know, Blair was talking about how she wanted to Skype with the girl. The girl wanted to Skype with her, some shit like that. But Markie talked about she got a girlfriend that she was Skyping with all the time. That's what Chris would say. I said, oh, so we playing games for real. I caught on to the game that she was playing, okay? And she was playing Go Fish and Hide and Seek all the time and Tag Your It. You know, that's what she was playing. All these childhood ass, monkey ass game. Kids game. There you go. So, they get this information to Blair. Blair, she's hurt. They try to call Markie. At first, she was like, why? I got a whole bunch of stuff going on in my life. I don't know. Because they found this address. And they was like, okay, cool. We going to come down and see you. She was like, okay, fine. I can meet and we can just face it and all that shit. They go to California where old girl at. They getting ready to go see her. And they texting her. No reply. Blair said she did text the girl, and she was like, I'm here, and Markie text back, yay. Okay, that was it. They called her, no response. Bitch, her answer machine said, you can leave a message, but, you know, I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to listen to it, so it don't really matter. I said, wait, I need to put that shit, I'm going to put that shit on my voicemail. That shit was so fucking funny to me. But, anyway, they were like, Blair, why don't you call her? Blair was calling her, no answer. So they got this address that they were supposed to meet up at, and it's not a home. It's like a parking lot of a shopping mall or some shit. And Blair knows how her house looked, or no, the color of her father's car and all that stuff, and from looking at a picture on Instagram. Now, I have some questions, because they was like, look her up on Instagram. Oh, she got her Snapchat, geotag, and all that stuff. And they found her address. That was a little bit stalkerish, okay? Because they found the girl address. She did not give it to them, but they found it. And I said, okay, that's a little questionable. Who's crazy here? But, you know, they went to the house. The daddy had just pulled up, and they went in there, knocked on the door. Nice looking house, nice looking area and all that stuff. I said, somebody got a little change in their pocket. And the daddy was like, look, she told me about old girl and y'all and all that shit. But she went out with her friends, and that was the other day, and I ain't seen the bitch since. Oh, well, could you tell her that we've been out here? And then she was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna let her know. Girl, Blair was like, I'm over this bullshit. You played me for a motherfucking fool. She get on here. Noah's Ark is on. Oh my God, I fucking love Noah's Ark. Wade. Come on now. And Ricky was such a hoe. And when he fucked, let me tell you something. Noah's Ark just did something to me because, like, they was just, the men on here was just too fine. And I'm gay as fuck. I probably would have switched teams for one of them. You know, I probably would have. But they gay too, so it really wouldn't matter. So I don't know what that meant. It was just really, really fine. Like, it's hard to, we're going to move on because it's hard to explain. But anyway, yeah, it's really hard to explain. Like, okay, yeah, we're going to move on. Anyway, Blair was just like, I'm over this bullshit, okay? I am over this bullshit. And she texted her, no, she called her. She was like, look, I was here and you wasn't. Fuck you, bitch. I'm gone. I'm tired of the game. Click. I said I wouldn't even gave her that. I wouldn't even gave her that. You wouldn't have heard from me ever again from then. But, and it was like, let's just give her like an hour. They went to the park. She gonna call. So my dad just said that she was here. Wait a minute. I was gone and then my charger. I left my charger at home. My phone died. I was like, I mean, if you're at the park, we can meet up at the park and all that stuff. And I was like, okay, girl. They was like, damn, the bitch couldn't even say, you know, send a text and say, oh, I apologize. And, you know, I'll be there in a second or whatever. My bad. You know, nothing like that. So they get to the park and the girl pulled up in the daddy truck. Okay, it's her. All right. And she was like, oh my God, I'm just trying to stop myself from like just coming over there and just wrapping my arms around her because I just been wanting to meet you so bad. And I was like, she acting. Okay? You're a little bit too cheery for all this bullshit that you've been pulling. And Nee was about to pull her motherfucking cars for real. She's sitting down there. She up there talking about I was supposed to meet you up in New York. But I really wasn't kidnapped. I went on my own. See, the guy, he was like, you know, if I would have went to New York, I had a vision that when I went to New York, I got killed or kidnapped or, you know, something would have happened. I died in New York. That's what she said. And he was like, well, if you don't confess your sins and repent, you was going to die if you go to New York. Like, you couldn't go. So I just went with him and all this stuff. I'm sitting here like, what is the cross at? Because somebody need an exorcism or something. Because I just don't get what was going on. Okay? And I'm sitting here like, you really think we going to buy this shit? Okay? And they was like, could you just stop lying? Okay? Just fucking stop lying and tell us the truth. She was like, I want to be with her. I want to have babies with you. You know, I want to come home and I want to rub your feet, rub your tits and all that stuff. And, you know, cook breakfast for you while you bucket naked and shit. You know, get your little cigars and all that shit. I want to do all this. I want to wake up next to you. I want to do this. And he was like, that's all fine and good, but you sound like, you know, you reading from a script. Could you be real for once? Okay, you got a lying problem. Well, I've been told that I have a lying problem. Just a little bit. But, you know, for real. I'm sorry. We cool. I mean, I like you. If she don't want me, she don't want me. But, you know, I like you. It is what it is. I said, wait a minute. Blair, if you don't get your ass out of there and go back and deal with your real life problems, here's my thing. Fuck all that. They wound up still being cool and talking and actually Skyping and shit. And, you know, Blair was like, it's no romantic feelings no more. She's with her girl. She get a new job down in Florida. She got a new place down in Florida. Her friend, they were staying together early in the show. They kind of had a falling out. She went somewhere else and took the baby, whatever. She going down to Florida. Her new girlfriend finna come down there. Well, first they finna meet. Then they gonna go down there to Florida together. I said, okay, you know, do that thing together. That's cute. And here's my thing. Markie, she's still in high school. I said, wait a minute, the fuck? How old is Blair? And y'all playing around for a year? I ain't playing around with no little ass kid. That should have been the fucking, unless the girl was left back a few years and she was, girl, I ain't got time for this shit, you know? And, you know, here's my thing about this whole thing and why I can't take Blair serious. Blair, baby, I understand we all need somebody in our lives to talk to and to depend on, you know, when we're going through some stuff and all that shit. but you're homeless, you're unstable, you don't have a job and stuff like that, and you're worried about a relationship of that nature. Worry about getting yourself stabilized before you work on trying to get a relationship of that magnitude or that degree. Okay? And another thing, unless you was using the public library and or somebody else's computer, where the fuck you get a computer from to Skype? But then I was like, no, because they can Skype on the phone. Then I asked, if you unemployed, who is paying your phone bill? Because she pulled out a smartphone. And I said, who the fuck is paying your phone bill and your data? I just wanted to know that. Alright, but that was basically the episode. Y'all tell me how y'all feel. I'll see y'all later.